All right, let's jump right in. For all of you students of psychology, criminology, and, the generally darker sides of human nature tuning in, let's kick off this explainer by hooking your academic curiosity with a pretty chilling warning from the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He said, "Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. And when you look into the abyss looks into you." It's a super profound thought, and it's going to anchor us as we prepare to peer directly into the absolute abyss of the human mind today. Welcome to today's special educational explainer. We designed this specifically for you students and focused learners out there. Today, we're taking the theoretical psychology you're reading about in your textbooks, and we're bridging the gap to the terrifying, real-world reality of the psychopathic mind. And we're drawing our insights entirely from the incredible source material compiled by criminologist Christopher Barry D. Here is our quick syllabus for today. First, into the evil mind. Second, defining the psychopath. Third, faking the diagnosis. Fourth, the God complex. And finally, number 5, walking among us. Section 1, into the evil mind, the investigator's journey. So we're grounding our study today in Christopher Barry D's seminal work, Talking with Psychopaths. Think about this for a second. Barry D spent decades doing something most of us would literally run away from. He communicated face-to-face with incarcerated killers. Getting inside their heads requires an immense psychological toll. It's a constant, exhausting effort not to fall into that very abyss Nietzsche was warning us about. Now, here is the core clinical thesis you absolutely have to understand as a student. Psychopathy is untreatable. There's no magic pill, no breakthrough therapy, no rehab program that just cures a psychopath. So you might be wondering, why do researchers like Barry D even risk their sanity talking to them? Well, it's because studying their highly dysfunctional, manipulative minds is really our only defense. By understanding exactly how these incarcerated miscreants tick, law enforcement and behavioral scientists can build profiles to catch the next generation of psychopaths before their victim count climbs. Section 2, defining the psychopath, the clinical framework. All right, if you're studying this field, you absolutely must know Professor Robert Hare's famous PCLR checklist. It's pretty much the gold standard, the ultimate rubric for identifying a psychopath. It highlights the specific traits that allow these individuals to just seamlessly manipulate everyone around them. We're talking about superficial glibness, a wildly grandiose sense of self-worth, pathological lying, extreme cunning, and a total, chilling lack of remorse. They're completely emotionally disconnected. To them, other people are just pawns on a chessboard. They're to be used and discarded without a second thought. To see exactly what that grandiose sense of self-worth looks like in the real world, get a load of this arrogant letter sent to our author by serial killer Keith Hunter Jesperson. The guy was literally correcting the author's grammar from a prison cell. He wrote, "I expect perfection from you, not bullshit. Inappropriate use of commas really annoys me." Think about that. He was more annoyed by punctuation than by his own horrific crimes. It perfectly captures the staggering, aggressive narcissism that completely defines the psychopathic mind. Section 3. Faking the diagnosis, the case of Kenneth Bianchi. Kenneth Bianchi gives us an absolute masterclass in psychopathic manipulation. Let's look at his real persona versus his fabricated one. In reality, Bianchi was a failed college student who got rejected by the police department. But his psychopathic need to excel, that massive, grandiose vanity, just couldn't handle the failure. So when he finally got caught for his crimes, he actually fabricated an imaginary hitman alter ego named Steve Walker. Why? He was trying to fool some of the world's most renowned psychiatrists into diagnosing him with multiple personality disorder just to dodge a murder conviction. And Bianchi was incredibly cunning. I mean, he forged psychology degrees, he mocked up fake letters of recommendation to legitimize his lies, he even convinced several top-tier psychiatrists that this alter ego was completely real. But then Dr. Martin Orne entered the picture. And guys, this is a vital lesson in investigative psychology. Dr. Orne brilliantly tested the assumption of the multiple personality diagnosis itself rather than just evaluating the man. He set a clever trap that shattered Bianchi's entire facade, proving he was nothing more than a cold-blooded, calculating psychopath trying to game the system. Section 4. The God Complex. Dr. Harold Shipman. Taking off almost every single box on Professor Hare's checklist, Dr. Harold Shipman possessed what we call a God complex. He used his superficial charm to make his patients completely adore him. But right beneath the surface was this megalomaniac vanity.
He absolutely never accepted responsibility for his actions. He felt infinitely superior to the patients he was supposed to be treating, truly believing he held the ultimate power over life and death. He didn't kill in some wild frenzy. He killed quietly, methodically, just because he was utterly addicted to the power of taking a human life.
215. Just pause and let that sink in for a second. That is not just some random statistic. It is the staggering, confirmed victim count of a physician who murdered his trusting patients simply because he could. Shipman represents the ultimate betrayal of trust, and he proves that psychopaths don't just lurk in dark alleyways. Sometimes they're the ones holding the stethoscope.
Section 5. Walking Among Us, the Illusion of Normalcy.
Let's look at the case of serial killer Michael Ross. This guy had an IQ of 150. He used his superficial charm to blend in perfectly at Cornell University, an Ivy League school. He completely fooled everyone. His parents, his landlords, his academic tutors. Nobody suspected a thing. He utilized that glibness and manipulative nature to mask a devastatingly violent pathology right behind the face of a smart, polite, highly educated young man. As investigative journalist Karen B. Clark noted about Ross, bespectacled and bookish, he looks just like the all-American boy, someone living next door to you. That's how normal he looks. Ross's terrifying normalcy perfectly illustrates how these master manipulators use our own trusting nature against us. Honestly, the scariest thing about psychopaths isn't how different they are from the rest of us. It's how flawlessly they can mimic being exactly like us. So as you wrap up this explainer today, future experts, and head back to the safety of what the author calls our bubble world, I want you to look at the people around you and ask yourself this final, chilling question. Could you spot the psychopath next door? Because as we've learned today, they are absolutely out there, they are brilliant at hiding, and the only way to fight them is to first understand the abyss of their minds. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep studying.